Hi there, I'm Taylor Jackson and welcome to this weird strip mall in the winter in Canada. We're gonna go inside, we're gonna do some flash photography. Softbox versus bounce flash versus some other flashes. Let's go inside. It's gonna be awesome in here, I bet. Yeah, it's so good and the lighting is so rad. Alex and Kinsey, who you might know from the channel, we have photographed them on many different continents wearing wedding attire. So the way that we keep getting wedding dresses for these shoots is a place called Gina's Closet in St. Jacobs, Ontario. So they have a lot of stock that they would like some images of. They're a secondhand shop and it's all for charity. So if you buy a dress there, all that money goes to charity. I think everyone that works there is a volunteer as well. So it's a cool concept for secondhand dresses, and it's a lot less expensive to buy a secondhand dress than it is to buy one off the rack. And hi, I'm Taylor Jackson and welcome to Gina's Closet. Here at Gina's Closet, there are many wedding dresses. These dresses are donated from brides to be purchased by new brides. All proceeds are donated to charity, and if you're donating your dress, you actually get to pick which charity your proceeds go to. We've got dresses for your kids. We've got dresses for your mom. And they got 5 mannequins, and 1 out of every 5 of them is nude. But you can film them because they ain't got no souls. This is a bow. This is a dot. These are shoelaces. And these are wedding dresses. Come on down to Gina's and get yourself a dress. So for my equipment, I am I guess I'm the control variable of bounce flash. Alex is going to be bringing light stands and soft boxes and setting everything up all proper. I am going kind of the same way that I would go into a wedding day. Not necessarily guerrilla style, but just with a flash, ready for any environment that I find myself in. I have to sneeze. I have with me my Pro Photo A10, but you can use any flash. Any of the Godox stuff has been really good. I've broken, I think, 6 Godox flashes now, so it was time. Tim's at 2. Yeah. Pro Photo A10. Really nice. I have 2 modifiers here. I have this here diffusion cup. I would say I use that most of the time. The benefit of it is that it just makes a diffuse light, so it makes your beam a little bit bigger. And then I also have a half CTO gel. So it's a half, which means it's half as intense as it would normally be. So it's a little orange, but not completely orange. And Tim is showing you what it does. So these are the only 2 modifiers I bring. This is to match to probably not these lights, but just a regular incandescent bulb, especially the bulbs that we're gonna see in here, because the store's from the late 80s, 70s maybe. And I'm gonna decide if I use a diffuser cup or not. And I guess the general idea for bounce flash and for my flash photography in general is to make this here beam as big and soft as I can. So Alex is gonna set up a softbox like this big. So his light source is gonna be like this. So if you're nice and close to it, it's gonna make you some nice light. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna point my flash at that and I'm gonna cover that entire area and bounce all my light back. So whether it is on here or up here or up here, you kind of get a little more variety and versatility out of a bounce flash. And in terms of just wedding days, when you walk into environments you don't really know what you're getting yourself into, you have to experiment a little bit in order to find what's gonna work the best. Because usually the thing that first comes to your mind is like, oh, I'll bounce off this ceiling. And all of a sudden maybe you're a little too close and the light's coming down a little too sharp and getting dark bags under their eyes. You have to go back like this and maybe bounce off the wall behind you. So it's all about just kind of figuring out what's gonna work. We're now entering a space. It's good audio in here. This could be a podcast and HVAC's too loud. So we've discovered that the camera's been on Cinevlog for a while, so I hope you enjoyed the burnt in bars. We're now back to regular full size. Look at that. And we've discovered the reason we're here is because they've received 300 dresses. So someone called and offered to donate 300 wedding dresses. I'm not allowed to have that?
No, it's like a weapon.
And so yeah, we're just shooting a bunch of products so that they have something to show the world to get more people in the store. But it seems like things are gonna get pretty crazy here because there's a number of wedding dresses.
Hello.
Congratulations on your engagement.
Another one.
They've been married 15 times at this point. 5? 5, yeah.
Once for real.
That's nice.
Maybe about...
It's the only one I wasn't at.
Yeah, true.
Tim was there.
Yeah.
And what are we doing today?
trying on some dresses.
We're gonna try to help Gina's Closet sell more wedding dresses. We have 2 soft boxes. It's pretty bright in here already, but we like it bright. Wedding dresses are white, gotta make them even brighter.
You heard it here first. Hi, I'm Taylor Jackson, standing in a hallway again, and do I have an offer for you? Until the end of the year, so until December 31st, 2024, you can get access to an incredible special. So I've made a course, 10 steps to go full-time in wedding photography in this year. Tim's excited, I can see it in his eyes behind the camera. You can't see it though. Here's a stock photo of Tim looking surprised. And I could charge $5,000. I could charge maybe not $87,000, but realistically, it's going to book you weddings. It seems like a fair trade to one of those weddings would come to the payment of this. $2,000 for a course like this, I feel like is reasonable, but it's not. It's $399, but if you pre-order it before the end of the year, you save $300 from that. So it's only $99. It's the best deal ever. Here's another stock photo of Tim looking impressed. Wow, that's so exciting. Thank you, Tim. And if you get in before the end of December, you also get a ton of bonuses, including my full flash photography course for wedding photographers. It's everything that I do on wedding days. This is just kind of a taste and in a bit of a weird setting, but this goes into detail of everything that I do, from on-camera flash to off-camera flash to direct flash to light panels to everything that you need to know to tackle a wedding day. It's a dumb term. Anyways, $99 to the end of the year. So get in on that 100% money back guarantee. You get it, it's not for you. Send me an email and I'll send you your money back to the dress shop. Whoa, where are we going? Whoa. My strategy for at least on-camera flash, we are blessed with a light ceiling that's going to reflect all the light as well as walls, so you can kind of bounce off of whatever surface you want, as well as everything in the entire room is just a great bounce. So life here is pretty easy. If you do find yourself in a more challenging situation where maybe you're in a black box studio and everything's painted black, sometimes you can still bounce. If it's a solid black, you're probably just gonna absorb all the light and it's not gonna be so good. But if it's a darker gray or even greens or oranges, I like to experiment and see if the light bounces off of it, what it brings back. And sometimes it picks up that color. So if you're in a barn, you might be shooting off that barn wood and it might bring back some orange into the scene. But then if you set your camera to incandescent white balance, sometimes that just works perfectly. It's not an exact science. It works 50% of the time, every time. And same with other colors too, that sometimes they just color correct out perfectly well. And you don't have to, you kind of have to play a game that if you're trying to get the perfect white bounce coming back into the scene and you're bouncing off something else, you kind of got to find the opposite color and send the opposite color at it in order for it to cancel out, which is a bit hard when you're just at a wedding and you got to do a job. So yeah, there's a lot of experimentation when it comes to all things flash and an unlimited life of learning. So sign up for the Rainbow Fun Time forever. So Alex has brought this Apple box from home. I'm shorter than you now because you're standing on a box. But if we were standing on the box together, we'd be approximately the same height. Crazy. Tim's got his indoor Crocs on. I don't want to be near them. I don't want to be on the box. This week on the Box with Tim, Alex is setting up the soft boxes I'm observing. It's going to be continuous lighting, which is nice because you just see exactly what you're doing, whereas my flash will be a surprise every time it activates. A calculated surprise. And we kind of have 2 options. We can leave all the lights on here and make everything nice and bright in the background, or we can turn all the lights off and only work with the soft boxes and do more of kind of a spotlight here and then make everything else disappear a little bit, bringing more focus to the dresses. This clamp? This is no problem. All right, so this live view display set, if you set it off, as you can see that I'm at 4,000 of a second, f1.4, I can go down more. As you can see, I'm at f16, nothing's changing. And that is because I have that live view set to on, which is nice if you're in a very dark dance floor environment, that it's basically enhancing the ISO to give you more sensitivity so you can see what you're doing. But when you're doing flash, you don't want that all the time. So you want that dance floor, yes, but in a situation like this, I want to see how I'm actually exposing the scene before I'm adding flash to it. So you can set one of your custom buttons to enable or disable that, or you can just go in here and it's under the camera menu, shooting display, live view display, setting effect, on, and now it looks like what it should look like. So for flash, I'm pretty much gonna make the entire scene disappear, I think, and I'm gonna see what that looks like when I just bounce the flash directly off the ceiling above us. And there it is, Tim illuminated by the flash. But with the flash, it's a really nice, soft quality light. So it's just using above us here to make a big softbox in the sky and throw it back down on Tim. So, things to be aware of. If you're shooting it straight up and you're too close to Tim, the light is going to come down a little too sharp and just look a little bit weird like that. But if you go back like this, all of a sudden, things look nice again. Nice and soft. So you want to send the light this way, it bounces off stuff, it comes back this way. You can also bounce it off of, we'll get Alex and Tim in one shot together. Just bouncing off the dress beside me. That looks pretty nice. Alex is a little more lit up than Tim. That's fine. And you can even do it off the ground if you want. Here we go. That one's not so good, probably. You can also do direct flash too.
That's fine too. I just saw it there. I thought,
Settings are crazy. I'm at 1/8,000 of a second at f1.4 and ISO 320 because that's my base ISO in Cinetone, which is crazy. A93 problems. What are your settings?
Right now I'm 1/200. Aperture is 2.2. ISO is about 320.
Hey, same.
Fairly bright in here.
Same.
Yeah.
How many lumens are this light?
I don't know.
It's on. The light is on.
Yeah. Right now, I've got my brand new, to me, Canon R6 Mark II, 35mm.
This one's a camera.
This is a camera.
I've identified it. It's a camera for sure.
He's good.
I know cameras. So we turn the lights, the overhead lights off. The softbox is still on, but I'm completely overpowering it with this light here, I guess technically with my settings, and then adding light. But yeah, it's something different. We're shooting a lot of dresses that we want to keep somewhat consistency over, so you kind of want to make sure you get the look, the best look that you can possibly achieve within here before shooting 10 dresses and realizing that you want to switch it up for the other 10. Direct flash, it works really well sometimes, and it works very well for some people, and it works very poorly for some people. Sometimes it does not agree with what's going on the wedding day from either the dress or from skin tones or whatever. I personally take direct flash very poorly, and I think it makes me look really bad. So maybe I'm a little more hyper aware of when it doesn't make people look as good as they could. So don't just be like, trend, I gotta do it to be super famous on the internet. All right, we're gonna bounce some light off the ceiling right here. Light goes up, makes big softbox, comes down, and everything in here is a nice bounce. This is a nice bounce, that's a nice bounce, that's a nice bounce. You're wearing green, so you're not a great bounce.
You're also wearing
I'm also wearing green. You can also dress your assistant up in a white tuxedo and use them as a bounce, and bounce light and use them as a softbox. You can have a softbox anywhere, especially helpful if you're out in a beach wedding and you have no ceiling and you don't want to go direct flash all day. And I am just bouncing straight off the ceiling above me. I'm gonna do a little demo, bouncing off of the dresses directly beside me, then bouncing off the floor. That one's not gonna be so good. Actually, that one,
kind of nice.
the floor is, why is it the winner? I don't know. Well, so what's happening is that some of the light is going to the floor, but a lot of the light is bouncing off of this still. So I'm kind of getting the same, yeah. Anyways, it looks really good in here. And I like to do more directional lighting. So when light comes from a direction like this, I find it makes the scene just a lot more three-dimensional. Whereas if it's just from straight and above, it's gonna look kind of, not boring, it's gonna look good, it's gonna look clean, people are gonna look good, but overall I feel like it's kind of more unique. And the other thing that you can have a little bit more control of light, so if you are bouncing off of something to either the left or the right, you can have a little more control of where that light lands, whereas if you're shooting straight up, it's just gonna kind of just evenly light the entire scene. Now another thing you can do, we've been shooting in TTL so far, you can flip your flash to manual and you can set the intensity that you want. So now your settings are locked in, your ISO is locked to something, and you can now just essentially light the scene exactly as you want. So for direct flash, whenever you light the scene, you're gonna get a crazy shadow if you just overpower everything. And that's what we're gonna do. I like that Tim's solving other problems over there. And then another fun thing you can do, Tim's going through Canon menus helping Alex, is that you can do a slower shutter speed. So if I go down to something like, we're gonna do 1/4 of a second, I'm gonna bring my f-stop up to f16. And now I have a little bit of motion that I can add to the scene as well. So I'm gonna do a little click, twist. It's good for dance floor coverage. Maybe not so good for this specific thing. It looks very haunted to do this in this environment. But if you are on a dance floor, it's gonna look pretty cool. Cool. Nice. So I'm at 1/8 of a second, f11, and minimum ISO. And I can add a little bit of motion to it. The scene is pretty well lit. So if you do want to add that motion blur and you're using your flash to isolate a subject, the lights have to be down a lot more so that you're able to just give them the only light in the scene and then let the lights in the background all happen. All right, so you have a few options when it comes to off camera. You can use manual settings here and you can dial something in very specific. I find that that's probably the way that I use my off-camera flash the most, that I'm gonna be setting this up in a very specific spot. Typically, I would say that if the podium is right here, I'll usually put a flash somewhere around here and bounce it right off the ceiling near them and get it out of the view of everyone and maybe even out of the view of the couple. If the couple's sitting at a head table, I usually try to kind of put it under where their eye line would be. And then I'm bouncing it off the ceiling. I set it to something manual. I figure out what works for the person that's gonna be at the podium, and then it just stays consistent and all your photos feel very nice and cohesive. If I was in maybe a getting ready situation, I would probably just set my off camera to TTL, and I would put this in a corner somewhere that gave it some nice bounce. So bounce it off somewhere like that. That just adds some good light back to the scene. Set it to TTL, and be aware of the fact that my flash is there and that my main light is gonna be coming from this side. So I'm always gonna be kind of shooting back into the room this way. I'm basically using it like I would just use a window light. So I'm always positioned somewhere kind of on this side of the light, or if you wanna get really dramatic, you can shoot back over it, or you can even silhouette. If you wanna do those crazy silhouettes with the makeup setter or hairspray, whatever, you can do those as well. I used to do those a lot. I feel like they've kind of lost their appeal to me. Are they coming back? Tim says they're coming back, so I guess we're gonna be like hitting people with way too much hairspray again, starting now, being like, I missed it, go again, go again. And then people just get real flammable. Now with our off-camera flash, you're able to kind of go anywhere. So if this was a podium or wherever you're gonna set your light up, you're now able to freely walk around the room and still get good quality of light on your subject. So right now, we're gonna do some pictures from here. So if this was a first dance or anything like that, I could kind of set my light here. I probably wouldn't put it as close as this to a first dance, but I can go anywhere. I can go aside, and I can create some unique frames from out here. And sometimes Tim's in the frame. Sometimes your light's in the frame. And you're free to roam, like home. Now it's time to go back to the weird Cinevlog letterboxed footage out in the hallway that we for sure didn't record earlier as an outro. All right, thank you so much for joining us today. It was an incredible journey through time, space, and the alternate universes of 3, 7, and 14. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I will answer them if I can, and if I cannot, hopefully someone else can answer it for you. I'm Taylor Jackson, and again, pre-order that special. It comes with so many bonuses, $99, $300 off until December 31st, 2025. Goodbye, Tim.